Welcome to our end of week news bulletin. I am Sergeant Doreen Kerubo. The Kdf Weekly Bulletin is a show to keep you updated on events undertaken by the Ministry of Defense over the week. In our bulletin tonight, regional peace and security. The Cabinet Secretary for Defense receives visiting Eritrean head of state. Commander Kenya Navy pays a visit to Pakistan Naval Chief. And Kenya Defense Forces offers scholarship to top students from Lamu County. The East Africa Community Chiefs of Defense Forces and the Chief of Defense Staff held a meeting to address the peace and security challenges in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo in Nairobi. The aim of the meeting was to evaluate the efforts for the restoration of peace and security in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. While giving his remarks, the chairperson and chief of the Defense Force of Burundi, General Prime Niangambo, expressed hope that the deliberations of the meeting will contribute towards creating lasting peace and stability in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. He also appreciated the extensive and fruitful deliberations by the participants that contributed to the fulfillment of the directive by the East Africa Community Heads of State.
The chairperson additionally noted that he was optimistic that the deployment of the remaining East African Community Regional Force contingent will be expedited to enable the regional force deliver on its mandate. The delegation also agreed on the deployment of East African Community Regional Force to areas earmarked for M23 phased withdrawal and the protection of civilians in areas vacated by M23.
Honorable Aden Duale, Cabinet Secretary for Defense, and Honorable Alfred Mutua, Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, received His Excellency Isaias Afwerki, the President of the Republic of Eritrea, at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. The President was on a two-day official visit to Kenya.
The visiting head of state held bilateral engagements with his host, His Excellency Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, on a variety of areas of cooperation between the two countries at State House in Nairobi. Also present to receive the visiting head of state were Lieutenant General Peter Njiru, Commander Kenya Army, Mr. Bien Rusom, the Eritrean ambassador to Kenya, among other dignitaries.
Honorable Aden Duale, the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, today held talks with Dr. Jahangir Khan, the Director of the United Nations Counter-terrorism Center, who paid him a courtesy call at the Defense Headquarters in Nairobi. The CS appreciated the wide range of programs the United Nations Counter-terrorism Center has rolled out, among them infrastructure protection, border security, cyber securities, and technologies to counter violent extremism targeting the youths, among others. Honorable Duale outlined the commitment of the Kenya Defense Forces to fight terror, efforts that have been boosted by the creation of a regional United Nations Counter-terrorism office in Nairobi. Dr. Jahangir acknowledged the role that Kenya has played in combating terrorism in the region, noting that the country has been a victim of terror-related activities in the past. Major General Jimson Mutai, the Commander Kenya Navy, visited Admiral Muhammad Amjad Khan Niazi, Chief of the Naval Staff at the Naval Headquarters in Islamabad. On his first day of visit, Major General Mutai inspected a guard of honor mounted by the Pakistan Navy and thereafter laid a wreath at the Shuhada Monument. This was to commemorate valiant sons of the soil who rendered supreme sacrifice while defending the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Pakistan. The Kenya Navy commander and his entourage later visited several Pakistan naval installations.
At the Maritime Technologies Complex, the commander was briefed on the global industrial and defense solutions. In Karachi, he paid a courtesy call on Rear Admiral Mian Jan, Commander Karachi, and was given a tour of the Karachi shipyard, which caters for shipbuilding, ship repair, and general heavy engineering to benchmark on facilities' best practices and share ideas, expertise, and experiences of the yard. During his stay in Pakistan, the Commander Kenya Navy also visited Pakistan Navy's Operational and Training Units, Joint Maritime Information and Coordination Center at Karachi, besides holding interactions with various commanders. During the visit, Chief of Naval Staff highlighted Pakistan's Navy's initiatives for ensuring maritime security and peace in the region through regional maritime cooperation. Major General Mutahi, on his part, appreciated and acknowledged the Pakistan Navy's effort and commitment in support of collective naval security in the region.
Honorable Aden Duale, the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, separately hosted Ms. Margaret Whitman, the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Pavel Zyatkin, the Belarus Ambassador to Kenya, and His Excellency Muhammad Heri Saripudin, Indonesian Ambassador to Kenya, at the Defense Headquarters in Nairobi. In the meetings, the leaders discussed various issues of convergence and military cooperation between the countries, as well as peace, security, and stability of the region. The leaders further explored areas of possible future cooperation in the defense sector. Mr. Patrick Mariru, the Principal Secretary for Defense, emphasized the importance of personal financial management among the ministry staff, terming it as a crucial step towards improvement of their lives and subsequently serving the public with vigor and modesty. The PS pointed out that getting educated on personal financial management would expose employees to skills on budgeting, saving, and investing, which in the long run may lead to employees living successful lives and well motivated towards the accomplishment of the ministry's overall goal.
During the meeting with the bank representatives, Mr. Mariru acknowledged the staff sensitization on personal financial management is paramount for the staff's peace and stability, translating to enhanced service delivery in the public service. The Ministry of Defense partnership with the banks on training civilian staff at the ministry on personal financial management skills will be a continuous program that will be conducted in phases. First training will be held in Naivasha between the 21st and 24th February 2023, targeting staff at the ministry. This will precede a similar training of ministry heads of department that will be conducted during their team-building exercises scheduled for. The bank officials acknowledged the significant role the ministry plays in defending and protecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya, saying it had made it possible for them to do business.
As hundreds of Form 1 students report for their first day in secondary school, 3 students from Lamu County received a fully funded scholarship from Kenya Defence Forces in collaboration with the local administration. The students who excelled in the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations were airlifted from Manda Airport by the Kenya Defence Forces. The students joining Moi Forces Academy were seen off by Colonel Joel Tanui, the Commander Operation Amani Boni, and Mr. Jeremiah Murimi, the Lamu West Constituency Manager.
Addressing the students before takeoff, Colonel Tanui congratulated them for their outstanding performance and urged them to continue working hard to elevate their families and give back to the society. Mkuu Shelali, one of the parents present from Kizingitini, told the students to remember their backgrounds and work extra hard to achieve their goals and change their situations at home. Mr. Murimi, the Lamu West Constituency Manager, on his part thanked the Kenya Defence Forces for supporting the needy students who hail from needy families to further their studies in one of the Kenya Defence Forces sponsored schools. In addition, he assured them of more collaboration with the Kenya Defence Forces and further efforts to support other needy students in Lamu County by disbursing bursaries.
Ningependa kushukuru KDF kwa kazi nzuri ile wanafanya kuanzia Lamu na kila mahali, na tumefurahi sana kwa sababu kupitia kwa msaada wa KDF wanafunzi wameweza kupata sponsorship kwa shule mzuri kama hii Moi Forces Academy, ambayo ukiangalia mahali Lamu tuko ni ngumu sana mwanafunzi kuja huku bila msaada kama huu. Na pia tumeshukuru pia kwa ile njia wamepokelewa na vile wamesafirishwa kwa ndege, na kweli hiyo itawapatia motisha hata na wanafunzi wengine wale wako nyuma, na hawa pia katika kuweza kuwafikia ndoto zao.
Nawashukuru sana wanajeshi kwa kunipa hii nafasi ya kujiunga na hii shule, na naahidi kufanya bidii kama vile Waswahili wanasema, ukibeba usileveleve miguu, nami sitaleveleva miguu. Nitafanya bidii ili niweze kutimiza ndoto yangu ambayo ni ya kuwa daktari.
Parents accompanying the students thanked the Kenya Defence Forces for their generosity and for giving their children an opportunity to aim for the stars. Scholarships, a part of population-centered approaches by the Kenya Defence Forces in collaboration with authorities to empower the local residents and strengthen cooperation towards degradation of terrorism.
Our motto is excellence, our commitment, and we expect you to live by that.
A delegation from the African Union headquarters, led by Dr. Sarjuba, the Director, Peace and Security, visited the African Union Monitoring, Verification and Compliance Mechanism headquarters at Mekelle, Tigray region of Ethiopia to assess the overall situation in line with the signed peace agreement. The delegation from African Union commended the monitoring group for visible peace dividends and signs of overall commitment to cessation of hostilities agreement. They pointed out resumption of commercial flights, telecommunication and banking services as among the key signs of resumption of normalcy in Mekelle, Tigray region of Ethiopia.
The delegation also had consultative interactions on both operational and logistical imperatives of the monitoring group. The African Union Monitoring, Verification of Compliance Mechanism in Tigray, team of African experts and other agencies are led by Major General Stephen Radina in monitoring, verifying compliance of the peace agreement signed on 2nd November 2022 in Pretoria, South Africa, and declaration of modalities to ensure permanent cessation of hostilities, disarmament of Tigray armed combatants, protection of civilians and delivery of humanitarian aid, monitoring and verification, and responsible use of media.
Major General Muthuri Kiugu, Assistant Chief of the Defence Forces in charge of personnel and logistics, also known as ACDF-PNL, paid a courtesy call on the Military Wives Association of Kenya, popularly referred to as MWAC, Executive Committee and leadership at their secretariat here in Nairobi. He was received by the organization's chairperson, Mrs. Tabitha Kibochi, and later held a closed-door meeting with the leadership. The ACDF-PNL appreciated the gains and successes of the organization since its inception in March 2021.
During the meeting, Major General Kiugu appreciated MWAC's continuous effort in supporting military families by emphasizing that welfare of soldiers and their immediate families is key in enabling them to deliver efficiently and effectively in their areas of responsibilities. Major General Kiugu was flanked by Brigadier Elijah Gatere, the Chief of Personnel Defense Headquarters, and Brigadier John Haoya, the Chief of Welfare and Compensation.
Mrs. Jedaida Mwangi, the outgoing principal at Moi Forces Academy, Lanet, handed over office to the incoming principal, Mrs. Mary Njogu, in Nakuru County. During the ceremony, Major General David Tarus, the chairperson board of management, members and parents thanked Mrs. Jedaida for her illustrious service to the school. Mrs. Jedaida Mwangi was the principal at Moi Forces Academy, Lanet, since 2020 and has been transferred to Alliance Girls High School, while her successor, Mrs. Mary Njogu, was heading Gateru Girls High School in Laikipia County.
During the handover ceremony, Major General Tarus, who is also the General Officer commanding Western Command, thanked the outgoing principal for her commitment and hard work. He further welcomed the incoming principal and urged her to build on the successes registered by her predecessor, which include upholding the core values used in governing the school. Mr. Fred Osewe, Nakuru County Director of Education, who presided over the handover ceremony, urged both principals to ensure that the standards and equality of education offered in the institutions are up to the set standards by the Ministry of Education. Mrs. Jedaida Mwangi leaves behind an indelible mark in the school, with the current one being just the released Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education results that saw the school post exemplary results by scoring a mean grade of B-.
Colonel Joel Tanui, the Commander Operation Amani Boni, on behalf of Major General Juma Mwenyekai, General Officer Commanding Eastern Command, presented football kits and other sports gear to Mangai Football Club in Lamu County. Speaking to the football club members, Colonel Tanui praised the young men for coming together and building on a skill that is meaningful and assured them of the Kenya Defence Forces' continued support.
On his part, Mr. Delo Nusra, the team leader, who is also the area assistant chief, thanked Kenya Defence Forces for its generosity and urged the county government to help the team soar greater heights by exposing them to other football teams in the county. The commander also toured Mangai Primary School to inspect various infrastructure development projects initiated by Kenya Defence Forces troops under Operation Amani Boni and assure the school community of the operation's commitment in ensuring that learning is not disrupted. Colonel Tanui further urged the pupils to get involved in co-curricular activities to avoid brainwash by ill-minded individuals. He also said that Operation Amani Boni will work in liaison with Lamu County Government. For KDF News, I'm Sergeant Modanje Mungai.
Thank you for watching. We look forward to your feedback via our social media handles and your viewership next Friday for the KDF Weekly Bulletin. My name is Sergeant Doreen Kerubo. Goodbye.